Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my med school study routine. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm still not 100% settled in yet, and I would say that aside from pure academics, I low-key have no idea what's going on in med school, and it worries me and it's something that I stress about a lot. In some respect, it seems like everyone around me is doing way more than I am, and sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy, so I don't know if I'm the guy to listen to when it comes to study routine, but I'm here sharing it anyways out of transparency. I know that things are going to get more busy, and I know that I'm going to find ways to streamline it more, but I want to talk about it now so that we can all look back together and say what was good, what could have been improved, and then a couple months down the road or a couple years down the road talk about how I did end up making the study routine more efficient. So my general schedule is as follows. On Mondays, I have lecture from either 8 or 9 to early afternoon. On Tuesdays from 8 to noontime, I have first case-based learning, which is where a small group of around 10 people and I go over a case, and that's how we learn. And then we have either lab or team-based learning, which is in a larger group. There's a very short lecture, and then we do a team-based problem set of sorts. And sometimes there's clinical skills in the afternoon, or like clinical skills small group, or we have other lectures in the afternoon, but that's mostly what Tuesdays are. Wednesdays are the same thing as Mondays, Thursdays are the same things as Tuesdays, and then Friday morning at 9 a.m. we have a quiz, and afterwards we normally have 1 or 2, sometimes 3 lectures. Now, there's one commonality in between every single day, and that's that I use Anki every day. I don't do too much Anki. I normally only do 75 new cards a day, and these are cards from a deck from the upper years have made specifically tailored towards our curriculum. But sometimes if I feel like these aren't, the lecture didn't cover things well enough, I will watch a Pathoma or Sketchy or other third-party resource video and unsuspend the Anki cards for those videos, and I'll do those. So that puts me at around like 200 to 300 total cards a day, sometimes up to 400 cards a day, including the reviews. So it's not that much. I know people that are doing cards up to the thousands. And then in terms of Anki, if there are cards that I know for a fact I'm not going to remember, I have a separate deck that I made myself. It's called Remnants, which I just put in the little details that I know for a fact I'm missing over and over into this new deck, so I can go over that. Now my week pretty much starts off on Sunday. So on Sunday I will look over first the lectures from Friday, because after I watch the lectures on Friday, it's my break. And then I'll also occasionally review some of the lectures from earlier weeks. Sunday is the day that I choose to review things from further back than just the week before. So if I'm on week 5 of the block, I'll sometimes review like the stray lectures that I think are difficult on week maybe 1 or 2. And then afterwards, I'll preview. And now my preview is for the lectures on Monday, and it's much more detailed than what a traditional preview is. In fact, I would say I pretty much learned the material the day before. So what I do is I look at the slides in detail. I look at every single slide and try to learn the material based off what I can see on the slides. Sometimes the slides are not that great. Like sometimes the slides have pictures that I look at and I just have no idea what I'm looking at. And I won't go ahead and try to like look up outside things. I'll just make a mental note that that slide's difficult. I should pay attention to that slide the next day. But any words or anything, things like that I'm not familiar with, I will go and look up. I don't try to memorize things on my preview day, but I will try to connect ideas. So if I see something at the beginning of the slides and then see something at the end of the slides again, I will go back on my preview day to look at it. That way I can sort of connect the ideas as I'm previewing. And it's a lot more challenging than just sitting through the lecture and having the lecturer explain it, but I think it helps me learn it better to go into lecture with a very solid idea of what's going to be going on already. I would say it takes me around 40 minutes to preview each lecture, and in terms of taking notes, I do write things. These aren't necessarily notes. I'm just writing things that help my brain process things better, and if you consider that like crude writing something down notes, then yes, I do take notes, but I've never looked at them ever. It's just to help me make sense of what I'm reading. Now on Monday, I normally go to lecture. I sit through the lectures. I try to go in person, and since figuring out that we actually have synchronous online recordings, I sometimes will watch those synchronous with when the lectures are going on. And as they're going on, I do take, once again, similarly to the preview day, I take really crude notes. As soon as the lectures are over, I'll look at the study questions in the lecture notes that the professor has provided and try to do those questions. As the day goes on, later in the day, I will review the lectures. I like to give myself a little bit of space in between when the lectures are done and when I review, because I feel like if you review things right after lecture, you're sort of putting in like a false confidence because you just listened to it, right? So of course it's going to make sense if things feel more familiar and you know it, but I like to wait a little bit longer before I review things. That way I know if I know something, I know it for sure. By the time I look over the material on Monday, it's already the third time that I've looked over that set of lecture slides. Then I'll do the Anki cards, and once again, in terms of the new cards that I make, I only make cards for things that seem pretty obvious, and that's gonna sound pretty strange, right? But sometimes you'll have 5 different diseases. Each of them have a very similar sounding set of symptoms, like fever, tachycardia, headache, nausea, except that last one's gonna have an extra thing like, I don't know, high breath rate or something, right? And because you sort of just lump them all together, like, they all have fever, nausea, headache. You forget that one that has the high respiration rate. And then, so those are the things that I put in cards, those little details that are slightly different than everything else that our exams actually really like testing us on that. So those are the types of cards that I like putting into my last stack. So I'll make cards for that as well. And if I really didn't like the lecture on Monday, that's after the lectures when I'll watch the Pathoma or Boris and Beyond. I don't watch it on Sunday when I'm previewing because our material isn't one-to-one, and I like to first get down what I need to know for class before I need to get down what I need to know for boards, because especially STEP is pass-fail now, so it's a lower priority. I'd say on shorter Mondays, I can be done studying by maybe like 5 or 6. On longer Mondays, maybe around 10 to 11, sometimes even 12. Now on Tuesdays, I go to CBL and TBL, as I said earlier, and then after class, I will review the material for the TBL first, and then I'll look over very briefly the stuff from Monday. By the end of Tuesdays, when I like to have everything from Monday's material down solid, because by Wednesday I'm gonna have to look over brand new material. Anyways, on Tuesday, I also like trying to finish the work involved with our case-based learning, and then I like to do the same thing I did on Sunday for Wednesday's lectures on Tuesday. It's a lot of word soup in terms of dates, but that's what I like to do. Now, on Wednesdays, I like to do the same thing as I did on Monday. It's pretty much the entire same deal as that, except it's a little bit harder to process Wednesday's information because there's already a day's worth of lecture. Monday's lecture's stuck in my brain, so it's all new information. So Wednesday takes me a little longer. I'm done sometimes anywhere between 7 to 12. That's when it takes. Now Thursdays are the day before our quiz, so I do the same thing I do on Tuesdays, except I also have to review for the quiz, which is normally based off of Wednesday's material, and I also have to finish Thursday's case-based learning group work. Occasionally on Thursdays, I will very, very briefly preview Friday's content. Now this is much more cursory than what I do for Monday or Wednesday's lectures. I'll basically just look at the number of slides for each lecture, and if it's over like 50, then I'll do a preview. If it's not over 50, I'm just like, screw it. I'll leave that for the weekend to do. Friday, I go and take the quiz in the morning, and then I sit through the lectures, and then anything past lecture time, that's free time for me. And so is Saturday. Friday afternoon and Saturday, I take the entire days off. And then that brings us back to Sunday. So that's basically my study routine in medical school. Honestly speaking, there's at least an hour a day that I can cut out of studying, because I know that many days I have a lot of overlap between what I'm studying, and that overlap isn't like overlap that's reinforcing the material more, it's just overlap that's a waste of time. But of course, I'm pretty new to this thing. I just finished the second block, so I'm learning more what can be cut out and what can't be cut out. And so I'm definitely going to review the lectures a little bit less. and things should still be fine. But if you have any study tips for me, leave them down in the comment section below. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I'm just trying to show the process in medical school, show you guys what I'm doing. It could be right, it could work for a lot of people, it could be totally wrong, but that's something that we learn as the process goes. So if you like the video, leave a comment down below, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.